The title of my post today is, Do We Have Burning Hearts? Last week, one morning, I read Jeremiah, where Jeremiah said the following, end quote, "But his message becomes a fire burning in my heart, shut up in my bones. I become tired of holding it in, and I cannot prevail." He couldn't prevail. He couldn't hold it in. Jeremiah was so stirred by the message that God gave to him that it burned in him so much that he could no longer hold it in. My pastor a couple Sundays ago preached a sermon entitled also Burning Hearts. It was based on Luke 24:13-35 about the time after Jesus was crucified on the cross and was buried in a tomb. And Mary Magdalene, Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James, the next morning encountered two angels at the tomb who said, "He's not here, but he has risen." Peter then ran to the tomb and confirmed that all that was in the tomb were Jesus' burial cloth, not Jesus. The story after that was an amazing encounter. If we can, put ourselves in the place of the two followers of Jesus on the 7-mile walk from Jerusalem to Emmaus. Luke wrote that the two men were discussing and arguing. They were arguing over the events of the previous day. On the long walk, they encountered a man that they didn't recognize and began to talk to him about what had happened. They were startled that the man questioned about it and was seemingly the only visitor in Jerusalem that didn't know about the crucifixion of Jesus. Imagine again yourself and a friend walking 7 miles with this man. 7 miles. Picture the longest walk that you've ever likely taken. I can remember my brother and I riding our bicycles from our house on the Charm Road in Holmes County, Ohio, 5 miles south to Charm, Ohio, to visit Grandma. That seemed like a long way, and we were on bicycles. So the men didn't recognize the strange man as they walked this long distance, likely up to 2.5 hours, according to what some sources said. 2.5 hours of walking and talking. Just imagine it for a moment. The man told them toward the end of their 7-mile walk, "How foolish you are and slow to believe all the prophets have spoken." They then noticed something different about this man. So as they approached their home in Emmaus toward evening, they urged him to come in and get something to eat and drink after the long walk. Luke wrote that the man took the bread, blessed it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were immediately opened and they recognized him, but he disappeared from their sight instantly. The two men said to each other, "Weren't our hearts burning within us while he was talking with us on the road and explaining the scripture to us?" They finally realized that the man they spent a couple of hours with was the same Jesus that they began the long walk discussing and arguing about. They didn't even take time to sleep that evening. They immediately returned 7 miles in the dark back to Jerusalem. Because of their burning hearts, they walked another 2.5 hours, or possibly maybe 1.5 hours, because they were probably running by that time, because of their excitement. Think of a time that you or I acted off adrenaline. We were so exhilarated by what we were doing that taking time off to rest wasn't possible. I remember staying up all night a couple times working on home remodeling projects. The two men were likely going to crash, as I did, later with exhaustion, but for now they couldn't hold in what was burning in their hearts, like Jeremiah. Following are two questions we need to ask ourselves. Do you and I have burning hearts like the two followers of Jesus on the Emmaus road that need to tell our story? Do we, number two, have burning hearts like Jeremiah, who tried, but it wasn't possible to hold in the message God had for the people?